Hey everybody, Mark here from West Coast Supercars and Classics. Today we are privileged to be looking at a fantastic car. This is the Mercedes AMG GTS. So we're very grateful to the owner of this car, Jordan, for letting us have it to play with for a few minutes. And we're going to be talking to Jordan in a little while about how he got the car, and maybe he can explain to me and to you how all the buttons and things inside the cockpit work, because it looks like a spaceship or something inside. Honestly, I'm not kidding. Okay, full disclosure, I like these cars a lot. Obviously the AMG partnership with Mercedes has been really productive. They've got a ton of AMG badged products out there. Did you know that 2017 was the 50th anniversary of AMG and Mercedes working together? True fact. So this car was the second car that was produced by AMG Mercedes in-house. So in other words, this was a brand new sports car, supercar. The first one was the Mercedes AMG SLS. Now if you come around here to look at it, you look at these features here, this shares a lot of the same features with the Mercedes SLS. The differences with the SLS and this car are that this car has regular doors. It has regular doors. It does not have the gull-wing doors that the SLS had. This car rides on 19-inch rims at the front with 265 width tires. At the rear, we're on 20 inches with 295s. Nice meaty tires, but you know, this is not like a hyper wide track actually for this car, and it tells you something about the way this car is designed. The car has a mid-front engine and rear drive layout, so that means the engine is very close to the firewall here. It's not too far out the front, and I will show you that right now. So, all right, let's have a look under the hood here. If I'm not mistaken, this hood is made of magnesium. That's what it says in the brochure. Magnesium, by the way, folks, is very expensive. The structure of this car is 93% aluminum. Okay, looking at the engine here, we're looking at, obviously you've got your AMG cover. Did you know each one of these has a signature of the builder? And that would be Tobias Schultes, by the looks of it. Handcrafted by Tobias Schultes of Mercedes AMG Germany. That's a beautiful thing. This engine has some very interesting characteristics. It's a 4-liter, just a hair under 4-liter engine. And it's a V8 engine, right? So it's got the banks, the cylinder banks are like that. Now, this is using 2 turbochargers, and if, Jinhee, you can come in a little closer now, thanks a lot. If you come over here, you can see the turbochargers right there, 1, 2. You notice that they're in a very interesting location. They're right on top of the engine, and they're really close together. And this is called a hot V formulation, right? They're right in the middle of that V between the 2 banks. The cylinder is right at the top. And this engine has direct injection for each cylinder. So what that means is you're getting very efficient, very high power engine, lots of torque, and very little turbo lag. In fact, this car won Motor Trend's 2015 Driver's Car of the Year. Randy Popst, who drove it on Laguna Seca, was full of praise for this engine. He said that he had no turbo lag at all on the track. Now that's something you have to consider when you're buying a turbocharged car. I have one. I have a Porsche Turbo, and there is turbo lag on that car, you know? So is this car faster than my Porsche Turbo? Yes, it is. Why? Because it has engineering improvements. It's not just horsepower, it's torque, it's power delivery, it's the transmission that makes things go really well together. And that makes a great driver's car. This car comes with an adjustable automatic rear wing. So this will come up at 120 kilometers an hour, very similar to my car and many other cars. But you can get these with fixed wings, and a lot of people do customize them with big fixed wings. I think there's a Rentec kit for this car that has a big carbon fiber wing that I've seen. Okay, now we've looked at the rear end of the car. By the way, you gotta love those chrome exhaust tips and the rear diffuser here, really nice. These are all organic LED lights on this car, by the way. Mercedes says they're the first car manufacturer to use organic LEDs. I don't know if that's true or not. OLEDs, right? Woo! They're high definition too. Okay, let's open up the rear and have a look inside. So you can see you got quite a bit of storage space in here. This is pretty decent actually. As you can see, it's quite a compact car. It has a wheelbase of just over 103 inches. And it's not a super light car, believe it or not. It weighs about 3,600 pounds or about, I believe it is 1,650 kilograms, if I'm not mistaken. If you compare it to some of the competitors, like your Nissan GTR, the GTR weighs more. There are cars in that class that are lighter, of course. All right, that's the outside of the car. Now let's have a look inside. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to Jinhee for doing all this camera work here today.
Yay!
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is our first time collaborating, doing like both being in the video, so.
I'm the videographer today.
Let's pose with the car, Jinhee. Strike a pose, there you go.
I'm like a racing model.
Yeah. Hey folks, I want to introduce you to Jordan, the car's owner. Hey Jordan.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for letting us have a look at the car today.
Okay.
Yeah, so we heard a little bit of the exhaust, and now we're going to do a little of the interior. You can show us inside the car a little bit and how it operates. So let's hop in and take a look. We're just sitting in the GTS for the first time. I've actually never sat in this car. I've looked at pictures of it, Jordan, but let's have a look around here. This is a really stunning interior. Boy, they nailed it with this car. Interior and exterior, I think. Don't you, Jordan?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Why don't we fire it up, and then we can talk about some of the systems and everything.
Okay. This is start for engine
start button.
Yeah, start
button.
I
see. Yeah.
And then can I try it like this? Should I turn it off?
Beautiful. Or? No, keep it on.
Okay. And then this button is we can choose the I means individual.
Individual.
Yeah, we can set up the engine, the transmission, the power.
Yep.
And this is comfort.
Comfort setting.
Usually when I drive it's normal, like this, and then this is sports and sports plus.
Sport plus.
And then you can see like this. This is screen.
Right. So you have that on the screen, heads-up display there.
This is sports, and this is comfort. And then when I want to enjoy the speed, I just set up like the race.
Race. There's a race mode, exactly.
When I choose the race button, the suspension is more harder than usual.
Yep.
And then it just fully open.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we hear the difference with the exhaust? Can you open and close the exhaust?
And it's already open.
Yep.
And then comfort is more silent.
So that's the exhaust button.
Yeah,
this will change it. So which mode is this in right now? Won't turn off when you stop.
Yeah, like this. This is green color.
Yep.
That means when I stop on the signal sign,
yep,
the engine start. Engine
stops.
Stop. And then when I push the acceleration, it's automatically start engine on.
So engine stop.
This is
manual transmission.
This manual transmission.
This is stereo control. Yeah. There's your drive settings with your
sports
your comfort. I'm gonna get a better shot. Sport plus, and race. You can hear the difference too when you change modes. Pretty slick. And this is your start stop button, I guess. This is your traction control off.
Yes. Yeah.
And then this is your shock settings, right?
Yeah, suspension.
How many settings do you have on the suspension on this car? Setting sort of thing.
Sports, automatically turning on.
Right.
Sports plus 2, race and sports plus the same.
Yes.
Everything same, but different exhaust.
Different exhaust.
Yeah.
Got it. And then how does this thing work? It's like a mouse pad here.
Yeah, this is
like a mouse pad.
Mouse pad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you use that to control your LCD functions, like all the functions here. Right.
Yes.
Does it work? Do you like it? Does it work well?
I think BMW the controller is iDrive is way better than this one.
Oh yeah, you had an M6, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I just bought it this this last month. But I'm not familiar with this one. But BMW is better, I think.
All right, I think it's time to take it for a spin.
Okay, bye bye.
All right, we're driving the AMG GTS, 2016 AMG GTS. Over 500 horsepower from this bi-turbo V8 engine. Of course, we looked at the exterior styling to begin with, and I personally think the exterior styling on this car is outstanding. I've really liked this car ever since I first saw it. It has a really nice degree of aggression and style, you know, panache. Yeah, it's an extremely nice interior on this car. Very sculpted, very futuristic, but sleek at the same time. You know, the sculpting is very nice because it's not angular and kind of square, you know. That's not that kind of an interior. Everything's covered with leather, very luxurious. When you first get in the car, you notice the big bonnet, the big hood on the car. It's got a big long hood, and I'm used to that with my Daytona. But in this car, you really sit in the car really down low, and the sides of the car, like the doors, come up quite high, and that really makes you feel like you're in a cocoon. The view is very good out the front, and through the rear view mirror, there is quite a bit of a blind spot in your rear three-quarter there with the C-pillar or the buttresses at the back, because it's quite thick. Steering feel is very good. Everything's well damped, well controlled. You know, as far as the rest of the interior is concerned, it's got a big, huge steering wheel, really nice and thick, very comfortable. The drive system is really good, very straightforward. After a couple minutes, you can just switch, say where we're on comfort mode here, switch to sport mode and sport plus. Let me just show you the difference. I don't know if you can hear this. Comfort. Oh, sorry, we're going over some bumps. Comfort. Sport. Sport plus. Now, did you hear that? It shifted down. It got a lot louder. So I guess if you wanted to experience this as a really more visceral car, you want to drive it around more like that, I guess. All right, I'm going to put it in Sport Plus mode now. Let's see what happens here. We're going to merge onto this road. I'm going to wait for a little bit of space, and then I'll give it some gas. All right, here we go. Holy crap, yeah, that's good. I don't know if you can hear that crackle. I love it. It's like fireworks every time you do it. This is in Sport Plus mode. Now we'll go back to comfort mode. That was on full automatic as well. It wasn't on manual, but actually it does a very good job. It has a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and it's paddle actuated, of course, or it can be in full automatic mode if you want. The thing is, this car does a really good job of changing its character for you. So you could easily go across country in this thing, take it for a long trip, or if you're just going to and from work and you're just cruising along, you want to listen to the tunes, that's great, you can do that. Or if you want to make it a bit more aggressive, switch into Sport Plus mode and then listen to that, and then you can enjoy it. It really reminds me of the Porsches in the sense of the build quality. These are very solid cars. I mean, this thing comes in at 3,600 pounds, so it's not a lightweight. But it's got quite a lot of power, so it makes up for it. It's got plenty of get up and go. I also noticed that when you switch it from comfort into the race mode, the steering actually changes a little bit. It gets a little bit harder to turn, so there's more resistance in the wheel. This car feels very secure and very well engineered. This is very thoroughly engineered, as you would expect, because this is a big flagship car for Mercedes AMG. Now I'll show you what happens in comfort mode when you step on the gas. So I'll drop my hand when I floor it, and then you can see if there's, I'll show you what the lag time is like. I'll drop my hand when I floor it. Sport Plus. Oh yeah, that's totally different. Totally different. The car suddenly comes alive with a snarl. Love this thing. Now I stuck it in race mode now. Oh yeah. Did you hear that? That sounds awesome. We're in second gear here, 3,500 RPM. Now let's punch it a little bit. Oh yeah. That's 6,000 RPM we went up to. That's what I'm talking about. You know, it has a big front hood, nice big V8 engine, rear wheel drive. That's the formula that my Daytona has that's shared with this car. But this one has 50 years of development from Mercedes AMG, and it shows. It's a very high-tech car, but it's also a thing you can play with, a thing you can enjoy just for the driving pleasure. Back to race mode. Now it's downshifted me. Go on, Jinhee, do it. There she goes. Let me tell you something, folks. This doesn't get old. This just gets better. Oh, I could have a lot of fun with this car. I wouldn't be surprised if the toughest thing for AMG GTS owners is making that decision when you get in the car. Which AMG GTS do I want to drive today? Do I want the comfortable cruiser? Do I want the Sport Plus loud, you know, kind of in your face car, or do I want the full race car? Decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call first world problems. And boy, would I like to have a problem like that. The lucky owner of this car gets to make that decision every time he gets in. So let me congratulate Jordan for making the decision to buy one of the best GT cars that's on the market today, in my opinion. Truly a masterpiece by Mercedes AMG. All right, it's been a really fun day driving the Mercedes AMG GTS. I'd like to thank Jordan for letting me check the car out and being such a good sport today. And also thank Jinhee, who's our camera operator right now. She's giving herself a thumbs up. And in conclusion, these are the 5 reasons why you should buy the AMG GTS, right? Number 1 is the value, the price point. This thing for about 110 US or 150,000 Canadian is one hell of a lot of car for the money. I don't care what you're comparing it to, whether you're comparing it to a Lamborghini or the Ford Mustang GT, you know, the GT350R. Those cars now cost almost 100 grand Canadian. And they can't really compare to this in terms of styling and performance. So value. Number 2, styling. This thing looks like it was spawned from the AMG SLS, which is a supercar. Okay, so it doesn't have the gull-wing doors. So, okay, so it's cheaper because of that. Number 3, the interior. The interior is absolutely first rate. Stunning execution, everything works, the controls are, you know, really superb. 4, the engine. This thing has an amazing engine. For a 4-liter engine, this thing has over 500 horsepower in this guise, but you can get it with even more if you go to the GTC. So the sound of that engine, the exhaust note, sounds like nothing else. You will love hearing this thing. You got to roll the windows down and just floor it just to hear it as often as possible. And number 5 is the performance of the car, the overall performance of the car. Did you guys know that this thing is almost as fast as a McLaren 570S at Laguna Seca? That was with Randy Popst, a professional race car driver at the wheel. So don't kid yourself. This thing could be a daily driver and it's super comfortable, but it is a supercar at the same time. So those are your 5 reasons why you should buy the AMG GTS. That's it for me. Thanks a lot. Over and out.